I'm backstage, waiting for my cue. I'm the last one up, so instead of the normal buzz of activity that surrounded me all night, I'm alone, and it's hollow and surreal. And I keep having the sense that if I get my stuff and sneak out the back door, I'll somehow disappear and nobody will ever know. Well, except for the fact that my mom and my husband are in the audience, they'd probably know. As a 44-year-old former corporate attorney and mother of two, I would like to think that a lot of people would notice if I disappeared. But in reality, unless they were hungry or needed clean clothes, they probably wouldn't. The MC's voice is muffled because the speakers are facing away from the stage towards the audience, which makes me nervous that I'll miss my cue or that I won't be able to hear anything when I'm out there and that everything will be weirdly off sync like a badly dubbed foreign film. And I don't want to be like a badly dubbed foreign film. My attention keeps going between the taped down extension cord on the floor that I have to step over in order to get out on stage and what I'm supposed to do once I actually get out there. I hear my name and I make it out on stage. My insecurities clinging to me. And I'm there. And I have to decide. Am I going to be in the moment, feel the heat of the spotlight, and know that no matter what happens, I gave it my all? Or am I going to stay in my head, do everything possible to execute perfectly, and risk losing the joy of the moment, which has happened to me more times than I care to admit? Before long, my costume is on the floor and I'm shimmying for all that I'm worth, flinging judgments and insecurities off of me like the glitter that I applied to my skin earlier. And in that moment, I am free. And the rush is powerful and exquisite. And that's when I knew the burlesque would be in my life forever. What I didn't know was how the skills I learned on the burlesque stage would help me through the most difficult time in my life and would help others as well. 10 years in, I quit my job as a corporate attorney to be a stay-at-home mom, which I loved, mostly. But after 10 years of doing everything for everyone, I started losing touch with who I was. Perhaps you can relate to that. I wanted to get my groove back, but what I really wanted was to be validated and valued and important. My husband was recognized at work, and because his job paid our bills, he and his schedule took first priority. Then it was the kids' school and other activities. But my desires, my needs, they had to revolve around everybody else's. Determined to reclaim myself, I went back to school and I started my own part-time mom business. And I signed up for dance classes so I could finally get my body back, which is how I found burlesque. I loved the creativity of the costumes, choreographing the routines, and I ended up traveling all over the US. I was important, and I was taking up time and space for me. My husband adored my new hobby, and I finally had everything under control. Which is when my world was shattered. I learned that my husband had been cheating on me the whole time. For 15 of our 23 years together, with 5 different women. My perfect home and family, my perfect body and business, none of it mattered. To make matters worse, disclosure of his infidelity happened just as my youngest was leaving home. On the day I broke my toe and had to quit dancing, right as menopause was kicking in with full force. I was literally losing everything, and there was nothing I could do with it. I felt painfully exposed. Perhaps you felt that way too. It reminded me of the first time I danced burlesque, standing under the unforgiving spotlights, my 44-year-old mom body in a costume that I put together from goodwill. I had a choice. I could do everything in my power, suck in my stomach, be perfect. Or I could strip down to my blinged out bra and my sparkly underwear, and I could dance with uninhibited joy for everyone to see. And that's when it hit me. Reclaiming myself had nothing to do with the size of my body or my paycheck. It had nothing to do with what I did for my family or my marital status. Reclaiming myself had to do with me getting comfortable showing myself as I was, not as I thought that I should be. It was about stripping out of the judgments and the expectations and being who I was. What if infidelity wasn't an act of destruction? What if infidelity was an invitation for a new beginning where I could embrace myself and my life with joy, where I could let go of the shoulds and the expectations that other people had put on me, that I had put upon myself, and flaunt all that I was? Flaunt is the acronym for what I did. F, find your fetish. I got back in touch with me, and I started doing things that I enjoyed. L, I laughed out loud, especially in the difficult times. I intentionally looked for the joy. AU, I accepted unconditionally my situation, the choices my husband had made, and I let go of control because really I didn't have any to begin with. And I navigated the negative step at a time so I wouldn't get overwhelmed. And T, I trust in my truth, in my heart, in my head, and most importantly, in my naked self-worth. The worst time of my life ended up being okay. Eventually, I got my groove back. But I got something so much more important than that. I got my naked self-worth, which is the ability to validate, value, and expose yourself for exactly who you are in every messy moment without apology. And that changed my life. I ended up with a book contract, and my husband and I, we reconciled in a completely unexpected way. I got the kind of happily ever after I always wanted, but I never knew how to get. During the most difficult time of my life, I had a choice, and I chose to flaunt. What are you going to choose?